I told you that I was living in a group home. And I told you a bit of stories about that when I was like 16, 17. I was sent there by my mom. She was a single parent. She didn't really know, you know, I was horrible. She had me young. She had me at 17. I was the only child. Well, I have a sister, but she was so young, you know. And I was the only child for so long. I was 11 when she was born. I was a spoiled brat, plain and simple. When I didn't get my way, I freaked out. You know, that and your teen angst issues, daddy abandonment issues, and the list goes on. I was always seeing a child psychologist. And I don't want to be, I don't know, he wasn't relatable to me, you know. He was like 80. But for you guys, anyway, it just didn't work out. I was put on several medications, whatever, and I think I just had like spoiled brat syndrome. So I was a troubled teen. So I was sent to the group home following, you know, a major incident. And I'm not making light of people who, if you're having thoughts, get help. For real. But this time, you know, I never intended to really do it. I wanted attention. I knew that gave me power, threatening that. I wanted to hurt people. You know, one day I was fighting with my mom about something. I don't even remember. Probably at that time, because I wanted to go sleep at my boyfriend's and be allowed to screw him all hours of the night at my age. What parent is going to allow that, right? None. So, anyway, we were fighting. You know, she went downstairs to fold clothes. I came down a few minutes later. I emptied out half my bottle of, I think it was Zoloft I was on, antidepressants or something. Didn't work. So, I showed her the bottle and I said, I'm going to kill myself. I took half the bottle. And I hadn't. I really didn't. So she's like, what? You better, are you kidding? Are you kidding? She was freaking out, you know. I said, no. And then she was like, I'm going to take you to the hospital. You know, so she took me to the hospital. I had the bitchiest nurse ever. Like, ever. She was a bitch. You know what? I think bitchy nurses are just... She was an older nurse. She was probably working on the field for like 35 years. And she's just seen one too many punk kids like me. You know, putting our poor parents through hell. And she was fed up. You know, she was real bitchy. And then she was like, you're going to drink this. It was like a drink. I think it was charcoal. It neutralizes the drug. And I was like, oh no, what if this, you know, I really didn't take the pills. So what if the charcoal has a negative effect if you haven't taken any pills, you know? So like, should I actually better take the pills? I bolted for the bathroom and the nurse was like, hey, where are you going? You know, they didn't want to leave me alone. I was on watch by this nurse. She was yelling after me. And I was like, in the bathroom, I'm like, I'm taking the rest of the pills. Oh my God. So in the bathroom, I actually took some pills. Then I thought I'll just drink the charcoal. You guys probably think I'm nuts. I was. And stupid. I come out and the nurse is just friggin' livid. Why did you do that? But like, she was just yelling, like yelling at me. You know, and then I had said, you know, I just got really scared and I was like, I had actually, I didn't really take them before. I just said that. But now I actually did. The nurse was like, I think she was ready to retire because of me. You know. And my mom, oh my God. Anyway, pissing everyone off. They put me in a room, make me drink that. And they decided I was going to stay the night. I didn't know exactly then how long I was going to be staying. So I was at like a children's hospital. Because I was still underage. And they put me in a room with someone else. Another youthful girl around my age. They put me beside an anorexic girl. She had anorexia. Which I know was no joke, believe me. But it was a stark contrast. One eating disorder with beside another. I made friends with her. She was being tube fed Ensure all day. Well, for her meals, not all day, but for her meals. It was sad because her family would come often. You could tell her family really loved her. And they would bring her all kinds of candy, big tubs of gummy bears, and just junk food surrounded her bed. They want her to eat, you know? So they give her tubs of gummy bears. Maybe for the calories, but it's still not healthy, you know? Anyway, we're talking. We become friends. And I was just like, man, those candies. I didn't seem insensitive, but the night before that she was going to leave, I think it was like a couple nights I was there with her. So the night before she was going to leave the next morning, I had said to her at some point, are you going to eat those candy? And I think she kind of caught on because she gave them to me. She gave me her candies. Another time, we're talking, you know, stark contrast. She's being, you know, the tube insurance going through her tubes. And I'm eating a Big Mac, you know? Or someone brought me. Probably my mom. So basically, what ended up happening was I was in that hospital until they could find room for me at this youth type of cottage retreat thing at the mental facility, where I actually ended up working. That was my last job. Then I went to the group home for a bit. I eventually ended up, I think, living with a friend after that and then home. So, no, Katima Vic first and then home. The volunteer program. So, anyway, I digress. I go to this cottage. They've been torn down. They're not there anymore. I totally revamped the hospital. So I went to the psychiatric cottage thing for youth. And with other psychiatric problems. I did not belong there, guys. I had to do my schoolwork there. Every single other person there was absolutely fucking Looney Tunes. Like, really out to lunch. Like, I stole liquor and pretended to kill myself. These people, like, oh my god. One guy I remember, I don't know, it was depressing. You're secluded. So for the majority of the day, you're like in prison kind of. You have your own room. You know, they wake you up in the early morning. I was in my room. I don't know what they wanted us to do, reflect? It was so boring all day. They're like, you need rest. Rest? From doing what? Showering in the morning? Anyways, dinner time was friggin', oh, this guy, he was really out. Like, he was like, and he would always make he would throw tantrums, and I thought he was going to murder us all, you know, because, you know, at breakfast one day, I don't know why, but they gave him exceptions. Like, we had a specific diet, healthy, you know, they would give you one packet of salad dressing instead of just putting as much as you want, for example. He had, you know, maybe because he was so large, and they wanted to wean him off gradually, because they didn't want him to be triggered, but they allowed him a bigger breakfast. Like, he would have 2 eggs, cereal, and then what we had. And they wouldn't cook his eggs right, like, ever. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know if I was messing with him on purpose or what, but he would always make his eggs over easy. And he wanted them, you know, sunny side up more. He wanted the yolk runny. I remember just, like, thinking, you know, about the chef, like, or the cook. Like, bitch, if I get murdered over a runny yolk, I'm gonna kick your ass. If I'm a ghost, because I'll be dead. But anyway. Anyway, so I need dip sauce. Marinara. So that happens. Freaks out. I saw a psychiatrist once. And you know how they just keep asking you questions, you know? And they, like, sit there, like, I felt judged. I don't know. Maybe it was, like, they were patronizing. It was always an older male. I don't know. And I didn't have good rapport with older males. Anyway. I was like, I don't need to be here. I'm not crazy like these people, you know? We had a movie night one night. I was planning an escape, okay? Yeah, I went AWOL. I ran away. Just listen. Escape artist number 1. They would let you go out for smoke breaks. Out front, like out back of the cottage, into an alleyway. And if you kept running that way, I'm just pointing that way, you know, you would hit the mall, the Westgate Mall. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for a smoke, and I'm going to keep running. And it'll be about 10 to 15 minutes before anyone notices, at least. The thing was, I had nothing. I would have nothing on me. I had no money. No money. My plan was to run away and call my grandmother, because I knew my grandma didn't know I was there. And this is bad, but I knew I could manipulate my grandmother into feeling bad and not making me go back there. It was movie night. And unlike most nights, we were all in the same room. So another girl that was there, I had asked her, I said, do you have a quarter? Quietly. Oh yeah, and another thing. We had a movie night, we got to watch it on like a 13-inch screen, and popcorn with no butter, just plain. The abuse. Fuck. She's like, she knew. She was like, "You're gonna run away, aren't you?" I can't remember what I said. So I went outside for a smoke. Like, why would they let you go unsupervised? I don't know. But I went for a smoke, and the minute I lit up, maybe waited a few seconds, started bolting. Started bolting towards the Westgate Mall, and kept running. I ran past the mall, zigzagged through little side streets. I was trying to get as lost as I could, you know. I found a laundromat. I've tried to find somewhere where I had a payphone. Back then, it was still payphones. You know, cell phones were not as common, especially not people my age. They didn't have them, you know. So I finally found a dingy, like, we're in like the ghetto area of town. It was like a dingy laundromat. And there were some sketchy people up there. I was worried. You know, I'm young. It was middle of the night. It was probably like 11 o'clock at night. So I found a payphone there. I'm like, please answer the phone because this is my only quarter, you know. And she was like, she answered, "Hello." Told her my sob. I started crying. I said, "I'm not like them, Grandma. I'm not crazy." She was really upset. She called my aunt. Demanded she pick me up. She was hysterical. My aunt was not happy, you know, like manipulating my grandmother too, you know, because they wanted me to stay there. They thought it would be good for me. No way. Anyway, I heard cop sirens in the background while I was talking to my grandma. I'm like, they're probably coming for me because they did call the cops. Yeah, so I went AWOL, and, you know, well, my mom was like, "Well, you're not coming back here because you're not ready to." She didn't feel ready, you know, like I was... Maybe I still hadn't learned my lesson or whatever. She was showing me tough love. And so I ended up getting placed at that home for teens who had nowhere to go. And you know what? Sad story, but it ended up being one of the best experiences of my life. And on that note, I'll have to leave that for another video. I'm telling you guys all about my life here.